All right, let's talk about something we've probably all felt. You know that feeling when someone's helping you, but something just feels a little off? Like maybe, just maybe, it's not really about you at all. Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're going to pull back the curtain on these hidden, sometimes manipulative games that masquerade as care. So is all help actually helpful? I mean, it seems like a no-brainer, right? But the answer is, well, it's a lot more complicated than you'd think. We're wired to see helping as this totally good thing. But what if it's sometimes a tool? A tool for control, or for feeling powerful, or even a way to just not deal with your own stuff? Yeah, let's poke at that idea a bit. Because here's the thing. Sometimes care is just a mask for control. And that's the big idea we're going to unpack. We're going to look at how this really natural human instinct to help or to be helped can get twisted into this weird psychological game. A game where the goal on the surface is healing, but the real hidden agenda is, well, a lot more selfish. Which brings us right into our first big topic, the helping paradox. This is where things get interesting. It's that murky water where support stops being about actually helping someone move forward and turns into something else, a kind of power play with a secret rulebook. And there's actually a name for this, consulting room games. It's a fantastic way to think about these unseen emotional manipulations that can pop up anywhere, not just in a therapist's office. They basically turn healing into a power play. So instead of helping someone become more independent, these games just trap them in a cycle of dependency. And this really gets to the heart of the conflict. You see, on one side, you have the stated goal. Things like, I want to offer support, or let's solve this problem together. It all sounds great, right? But then there's the hidden goal, the real reason someone's playing. And that's stuff like feeling superior, making someone dependent on you, or just soaking up the attention. This difference between what's said and what's meant, that's the whole game. Okay, so let's start by looking at one side of the coin, the helpers, the rescuers. These are the folks who, on the surface, look like the good guys, right? But once you start digging, you realize their reasons for playing are a lot more complicated. First step, we have a game called the greenhouse. Think about it like this. Picture a gardener. A good gardener knows you can't force a plant to grow faster by yanking on its stem, right? Well, the player in this game does exactly that. They're all about pushing for huge, fast changes in someone. Not because it's good for that person, but because they want to see the results of their work. And this really nails the motivation. The helper isn't nurturing a garden. They're building a project to feel like a master gardener. See, the person they're helping stops being a person and just becomes a project. The whole point isn't real, lasting growth. Nope, it's all about the helper proving how great they are and getting that feeling of control. So how does this all play out? Well, the person being helped just ends up feeling pressured, maybe even resentful, and any of that so-called growth, it's super fragile, it's not real, and it often just backfires. In the end, the whole thing is a failure because the goal was always control, not actual, genuine care. All right, here's another game, and I bet you've seen this one in the wild. It's called I'm Only Trying to Help You. You know the type, the person who's always jumping in with advice you didn't ask for, always playing the hero, whether you need rescuing or not. And that phrase, that's their get-out-of-jail-free card, but it's hiding what's really going on. Because really, they're acting like rescuers not to truly care, but to feel powerful, superior, and important. It's not about genuine concern. It's about that rush they get from feeling powerful, from being the one who knows best. In a way, they need other people to have problems so they can have a role to play. So what's the real prize for this rescuer? Well, a few things. First, it keeps the other person stuck, dependent on them. Second, it's a huge ego boost. Every rescue makes them feel more superior. And third, and this is a big one, focusing on everyone else's drama is a fantastic way to avoid dealing with their own. It's a really powerful and really selfish loop. But you know, these games always have at least two players. So let's flip the script and look at the other side of this. Let's talk about the victim's gambit. This is where helplessness isn't a condition, it's a weapon. And the person asking for help is actually the one pulling all the strings. And that brings us to a game called Indigence. The player in this game is a master of appearing helpless. They're perpetually miserable, their problems are always impossible to solve, but here's the twist. They don't want a solution. They're after something completely different. See, for them, their goal isn't to get better, it's to secure an audience for their suffering. Getting better would be the worst thing that could happen. It would mean the game is over. What they really want is a constant stream of sympathy and attention. Their suffering is basically the currency they use to buy that. So what you get is a kind of professional patient. They're amazing at shooting down any real suggestion for progress. It's always yes, but. And they use their misery to control people, to make others feel responsible for them. The payoff? All that attention and care they get for being so helpless. It's guaranteed. Okay, so we've looked at the games from both sides now, the rescuer and the victim. The big question is, how do you stop playing? How do you get off this crazy dysfunctional ride? Well, that's what we're going to talk about now, how to spot these patterns and move from playing games to making real, genuine connections. And here's a quick cheat sheet that pulls it all together. You've got the greenhouse game, where the prize is control. Then there's I'm only trying to help you, where the player wants to feel powerful and superior. And finally, indigence, where the goal is just sympathy and attention. Just seeing it all laid out like this, seeing the hidden prize for each role is a huge first step. And really, it all boils down to this one simple distinction. Genuine help empowers you. It builds you up so you can stand on your own 2 feet. A psychological game, on the other hand, creates dependency. It keeps you stuck. That's the difference, right there. One is real support, the other is just a game. So I want to leave you with a question to chew on. Think about the relationships in your own life. Are you healing, or are you just playing? When you're giving help, or when you're getting it, what's really going on under the surface? Is it about real growth, or are you maybe just playing a part in a game you know all too well? It's definitely something worth thinking about. Thanks so much for joining me for this.